Hi, you probably heard about the HP Omen 15. Here I've got the 2020 model that has been completely redesigned compared to the previous generations, but don't let that clean and professional look fool you, because it's a powerful laptop that can handle even the most demanding games. Here you can see my configuration, and during the video we will compare it to the laptops with similar specs. Today we will also discuss the performance, thermals, quality, features, other configurations and basically everything that will help you decide if this is the laptop you wanna go for. If you don't know my channel yet and you like this kind of reviews with comparisons, consider subscribing TechFinds and hit notification bell if you don't wanna miss the upcoming videos. As always, in the video description I left the Amazon links to check the current price, and in the comment section you can find the timestamps to skip to any part of this video. I'm Chris from TechFinds, and now let's jump into the review. Let's start with the design that this time has drastically changed. The HP Omen was usually easy to recognize during last few years, thanks to characteristic hinge mechanism that was located in the middle. Now HP decided to move the hinges to the opposite edges, and that makes it look more like a typical laptop. Along with the change of shape, the 2020 Omen looks also much cleaner. The lid is plain black now, with new Omen logo that changes the color slightly depending on looking angle. There are 3 exhausts, of which one is on the side, and they don't scream gamer anymore. Inside, the laptop looks very toned, so you wouldn't really say it's a gaming laptop. It has matte texture and the fingerprints show up easily, but they are easy to wipe away with a dry wipe. A nice accent is the O15 lettering on the right side. The display has thin bezels and the 720p webcam is located properly on the top. If it comes to build quality, the 2020 Omen has plastic lid and bottom, but the deck is made of metal. Overall, the laptop feels solid and premium while being pretty light and portable. It weighs only 2.1 kg, and here are the dimensions compared to similar gaming laptops. Coming to the interior, unfortunately the keyboard in 2020 Omen comes without number pad. What I like though is that the keys material feels softer and the arrow keys are reasonably big now. You have one dedicated key to open the command center app where you can control your system, and few separate buttons above the arrows like page up and down, delete, calculator and so on. Unfortunately, the power button is in awkward position. Not only it is a part of the keyboard, but it's located between other keys. Single short press will not turn your laptop off though. The keyboard was nice to type on, easy to get used to, and the gaming isn't a problem if you don't use the number pad. If it comes to lighting, my unit has 4-zone RGB with separate lighting for WSAD keys, but according to HP website this model is also available with optional per key RGB or red light only, but I've seen that it also comes with white lighting. The touchpad is one piece with a big surface and a clicking mechanism for left and right click under the bottom part. It uses Windows Precision drivers and it's accurate. The gestures worked well, it never happened to misclick, and the cursor didn't tremble in a strange way. In general, I had no complaints when using it. And here is the port selection. It's good to see Thunderbolt 3 port and full-size SD card slot. Pause the video if you want to stop here longer. If it comes to display, my unit came with 1080p 144Hz IPS panel with about 9 ms response time, and before you ask, no G-Sync here because I had the configuration with RTX 2060. If you want G-Sync you have to choose the model with RTX 2070 or 2080, but I'm not sure if this criteria applies to the 300Hz model too. There are other display options that you can choose, including 60Hz, 240Hz and 300Hz for 1080p ones, and for the 4K displays you can have 60 and 120Hz options. The color coverage of my unit was 95% of sRGB, 73% of Adobe RGB, and the brightness was 329 nits. I think that it's enough to be able to use this laptop for video or photo editing. The games look great and smooth, and the viewing angles are good. The quality was good as well. Despite the camera was able to capture some backlight bleeding, it was not visible to my eye during normal use, even when the screen was black. If it comes to sound, I was surprised how loud the 2020 Omen can get. It was audibly louder than other laptops that I tested, and the sound quality was on point without distortion on higher volumes. Lows and mids were clear, but as usual in laptops the bass could be present stronger. Okay, let's quickly mention other configurations and prices of the 2020 HP Omen 15. Please note that the prices may change with time, so if you wanna be up to date you can check the Amazon links that I left in the description. You can have the 2020 model with 10th gen Intel processors and new Ryzen 4000 series processors that have good price to performance ratio. If it comes to graphics, there is big selection of GPUs, starting from budget models with GTX 1650 and finishing on top-end RTX 2080 Supermax Q. Recently they also added new NVIDIA 3000 series GPUs to Omen laptops. I mentioned available display options before, but it's worth to note that the 2020 Omen doesn't have a 17-inch version as for the day of recording this video. So now you might be asking, is the 2020 HP Omen 15 worth buying over other gaming laptops available on the market right now? To find an answer you should watch the next part of the video, but now if we are talking about price, here you have a list with few examples to compare. If you want more, don't forget to check out my channel to find reviews, comparisons and benchmarks of the laptops that I mentioned here. If it comes to performance, I pushed this laptop to the limits, so for testing purposes I set the performance mode for more CPU power and I enabled the maximum fan speed for better cooling. In Omen Command Center app you can manually adjust the fan speed, undervolt the CPU, select the power mode and change the keyboard lighting. In general, the performance was surprisingly good considered that the 2020 Omen had power limits set at 35 watts most of the time. Here you can see the results of my tests compared to other gaming laptops with similar specs. But if you want to see more games tested, check out my gaming benchmark video where I tested 20 games on this laptop. Link to the video will be in the description. If it comes to temperatures right out of the box, the 2020 Omen was reaching the average of 84 degrees Celsius on the CPU and only 68 degrees on the GPU. That was when the processor was working normally at 45 watts as intended, but unfortunately the next time I tested this laptop the CPU TDP stuck at 35 watts due to power limit throttling and it never came back higher. Of course the temperature dropped even lower, which is good, and the performance was still good, but I personally don't like to see that limit set by the system when you can't even do anything about that. From what I've seen at first, I think that the 2020 Omen has cooling system efficient enough to let the CPU run at 45 watts, so I don't understand that power limit. As the temperatures were already low and the power limit was there, it was nonsense to undervolt the CPU, but you always have that option in the Omen Command Center app. If it comes to fan noise, the 2020 Omen is pretty loud under full load, but thanks to loudspeakers it's possible to play games without using headphones. The fan noise on idle is on a decent level though. Alright, that's all for the performance and cooling, so now let's talk about upgradability and storage. My unit came with 1TB M.2 NVMe SSD and here is the test performed using Crystal Disk. To get access to the components you have to unscrew only 8 screws and inside you can find your 2 RAM slots and 2 M.2 PCIe slots for SSD. Unfortunately there is no slot for 2.5-inch hard drive. If you worry about breaking something, I made a step-by-step detailed guide where I am showing you how to disassemble and upgrade this laptop, so if you're planning to add more RAM, swap out your hard drive or SSD, you can check it out. You can find the link in the description. The battery life hits around 3 hours and 50 minutes when browsing the web, watching YouTube and doing light productivity work. When gaming, battery dies after 1 hour, which is about average score for a gaming laptop nowadays. Alright, it seems to be everything, but before we finish let me share my closing thoughts. What I can see is that the 2020 HP Omen 15 is a mix of good performance with efficient cooling and compact, clean and professional design. It has only metal deck, but other materials used make it feel sturdy and premium in general. The temperatures are great, but sadly achieved by lowering the CPU power when it's not even needed. Nonetheless, the performance seems to be not affected, which is pretty strange. In my opinion, one of the advantages of this model is having Ryzen processors in offer. At the time of recording, I found the configuration with GTX 1660 Ti and 8-core Ryzen 7 4800H for only $1,019, while the equivalent Intel models were about $200 more expensive and still having 2 less cores. Another good thing is that you can control the fan speed and undervolt the CPU in Omen Command Center app now. Alright, it seems to be everything that you need to know to make a wise choice. Check the video description to find Amazon links for the laptops that I mentioned and for more related reviews and comparisons. That's all for today and I hope that you found this video helpful. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this kind of reviews it would be awesome if you hit thumb up or maybe consider subscribing TechFinds for more. On my channel you can find detailed laptop reviews, laptop comparisons, gaming benchmarks and more. Now thanks for your time and see you in the next video.